My life was like butterflies and roses, like until we hit infertility. Like kind of tarnished a lot of parts of my life that I really loved. And it was all these beautiful families and so many kids that it was just like a dagger to the heart. It was like a reminder of what I wanted so desperately that I couldn't have like right in front of my face.
Yeah.
I just remember taking pictures of her and like stroking her head and just thinking I was never going to see her again.
Yeah.
So here's a question. If you could go back and not experience infertility, would you do it?
Oh,
I think before going through infertility, I thought happiness was something that was caused based off of your circumstances, based off of how things were going in your life, based off of the things you had or you accomplished. And after going through infertility, I felt like happiness is something that what is your key to happiness?
my key to happiness is here we are. We're rolling.
We're doing it.
We're recording. The audio's going. The audio was harder than I thought it was going to be. The video is harder than I thought it was going to be. Setting up was harder than I thought it was going to be. But here we are.
The Hunters of Happiness podcast.
You read my mind.
In unison. No, this has been something that we've wanted to do for
We've talked about it for years at this point.
Yeah.
It's probably been, I don't know, 3 or 4 years.
and we've finally done it.
Here we are.
Here we are. So why did we want to do this podcast?
The why. We've been wanting to do this forever. I think just doing it together. I think what we've realized is that we like talking to people.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, especially you.
especially me,
100%.
especially you. I just get it started and then you pretty much talk to people. That's what happens,
Okay,
really.
but we've talked about this so many times. You are the best at talking at strangers.
That's right.
Like talking to
I
strangers.
almost prefer to talk to strangers.
Yeah. When we started dating, it was like very foreign to me. But if we went anywhere, he was asking people questions, talking to her. Like when we went skiing that
Yeah.
was like one of our first,
Yeah.
that was very early on in our relationship.
Yeah.
And I was like so uncomfortable that every single person we sat next to on the ski lift, you were like, so
Oh,
where
yeah.
are you from? What are you doing here?
Oh, yeah. You got to talk to people on the lift. Got to.
Yeah, I was definitely more of the silent on the lift, which now I realize
5 minutes of
made
uncomfortable silence for you.
Yeah. But that was more comfortable than like trying to make small talk. But I think I've learned being married to you, like how much fun it is to like get to know anybody.
Yeah.
And like that it's always surprising and so interesting, like everyone's stories. I remember that time on the ski lift that the people next to us were like from Brazil or
Yeah.
something.
Argentina, I think. Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing? Like, I never would have thought of that. I don't know. I love listening to people's stories. I think that we've built our whole brand around happiness, Hunters of Happiness. Like that's always been, happiness has been, and the pursuit of it has like always been part of my life. And then
Well, it's something we're pursuing, but also we're just interested in other people and their pursuit of their own happiness.
everyone has a story.
Yeah.
And I learn so much from everybody's stories.
Yeah.
Like, and how they've persevered through them or what they've learned in spite of them, or like, I just feel like,
Yeah. And learning from others is the best way to learn.
yeah. I also think it makes it easier to go through life. Like, after I've talked to someone about like their story and then I'm out and about, I just feel like you offer more grace to people because you look
Yeah.
at everybody in whatever situation you're interacting with people with and you think they have a story. Like, I don't know what it is, but if they're not acting, in the way that maybe
they should.
the way that I would expect someone to, like, who knows what they're going through. But also it's just so inspiring. Like, I think I've learned the most. I've like been helped the most from other people being vulnerable enough to share their life experiences.
Mhm.
So we decided that our slogan for the podcast is happiness has a backstory, because I think
Happiness has a backstory.
it always does. And we're super excited. Like, we'll obviously be doing podcasts, you and I,
Mhm.
and talking about things going on in our lives. But our goal really is to interview other people. Like, I would love it if you messaged me on Instagram, or maybe we could even make a form. Like, I want it to be everybody, anybody, not just people who are in the public eye or publicly share their stories, but like anybody, everybody. So I love hearing people's stories. And I have like a lot of people in mind that I really want to interview and
Yeah.
get
Come
to
up
know.
with a good list already.
Yeah. But
But
I would
we want to hear your story too.
Yes, we do. But overall, I think the goal of this podcast is to bring more happiness into the world
Absolutely.
through sharing and connecting with one another. And if this can be like a platform and a medium to do that, like,
It'd be great.
it'd be great.
Be another way where we can better connect. I actually think that's another why is there's so much that people see on the short form, but there's so much that's left out. And
Oh.
I mean, there's how many times have we been like, oh, well, we would want to go way deeper into this. We just don't have time. We got to move on to whatever.
Well, and it's hard to when you're at the mercy of an algorithm, especially when it's like, for me, it's my livelihood. I don't get to choose like, oh, what I would want to share
Yeah.
is like really delve in and really explain something really well. But the algorithm doesn't like that on Instagram. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
It wants 15 seconds and it wants you to move on quickly.
Yeah. And so we're hoping with the podcast, we
Yeah.
can kind of discuss a lot of those
Yeah,
things.
a lot of the
in
things
detail.
that people ask us for more information on, more detail on, we can talk about here
Yeah.
and in like a long form. And I think it's going to be so much fun. I can't believe it. This space is really fun. We've been working on converting this office into a podcast studio, and it was way more work, way more expensive than I understood.
Yeah. But it is exciting.
And let's put a big caveat here. We have no clue what we're doing. No clue. So like, if the lighting, if all you see is our lips moving and the audio just doesn't exist at all,
We'll figure it out someday.
yeah, this is our first one. So give us some grace.
Speaking of grace,
Speaking of grace,
give us some grace.
we need some, because hopefully this works and we even get to put it up.
Yeah.
If not, it'll be a good practice.
That's
So, okay, we're going to start with our first segment that we're going to do every time that we have a podcast. We're going to start with the rundown.
The rundown. That's
How
right.
could you forget?
The rundown. I'm going to need a rundown, actually.
I'm going to need a rundown. We love The Office. And when we were like, what do we call our segment where we're going to start the podcast
updates.
and give updates and like quick little, like, news for the week, and trying to come up with a name for it, and
The
came up
rundown.
with the rundown. Can you give me a rundown? How would you use rundown in a sentence?
I need a rundown real bad.
You will find if you end up being a listener of our podcast, which we're going to call you the Happy Crew because we love that. If you are a member of the Happy Crew and a listener, you will know we will probably most definitely quote The Office all the time.
Most definitely.
Most definitely. Oh,
Most def.
okay. So for the rundown this week,
Yeah. Where to begin?
big news. Biggest news for me is we're grandparents
Oh, I was going to say the same thing.
at 34 and 40 years old. We're grandparents to puppies.
Puppies. 9 beautiful, healthy puppies.
I'm obsessed with puppies.
She's obsessed
Yeah.
with the puppies.
I feel also like really grateful that it's the best situation ever, and they're our neighbors, and it's just been like the coolest experience, truly, and so cool for our kids to be a part of.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty storybook.
Oh, for sure. I 100% will be writing a children's book and illustrating it about their love story. It's so much fun, but then also that they're our neighbors and our friends, and like their kids are our kids' really good friends. Like, it's so fun. And I'm so grateful that they've let me be a part of the process and like educated me
Yeah.
and let me come and help. Like they're doing far more than we are. And sometimes I do feel bad about that. What I say we found out they were being delivered and we were at your parents' house. And I was like, I feel like we need to go help. Like we can't be a deadbeat dad.
Can't be a deadbeat dog dad.
Yeah. So it does feel like I feel a little bit bad because she just the poor dog has delivered 9 puppies.
Yeah.
She's so tired. She's such an amazing mom. And then I'm helping take care of all of them. Then I come home and Bo's like
Bo's completely unaware.
completely. Well,
I think he's pretty well
he can
unaware.
smell.
He smelled something was off with you for sure.
Yeah. But no, he's just totally relaxed, chilling at home.
Yeah.
And she's going through it. I mean, I guess some things hold true.
Yeah, for sure, our usual arrangements.
Yeah, some things hold true. Okay, what else for the rundown this week?
We've got projects that are multiplying.
Yes, it's my fault. It's always my fault.
No, this is the time of year we came off the Christmas project, Christmas build.
And we usually take a break, which we have.
We took, and we went to
I haven't
Disney
done
World.
a project since then. It's been 4 weeks.
But the ideas have been percolating without the projects.
Yes. If I don't have something actively working on, then my mind starts going wild. What was it 2 nights ago? I was like, hey, I have this idea. Come out here into the family room. Let me show you. And you were like, that is a crazy idea.
Sounds crazy on its face, but you'll learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and I think it'll be great, but we'll see what it'll take to get it done, huh?
Yeah. Am I like emailing a bunch of contractors today? Yeah.
Maybe.
So this week we don't have an interview because we're going to interview each other and we're going to kind of introduce ourselves and share our story and like kind of our life story and how we feel like we've found happiness, throughout the ups and downs of our life. So what's your name?
From the top.
Hey, get dropped.
I was
That's
born.
a bad song.
Yeah. Do we want to start with names? Scott Hunter.
Yeah.
And
Elise Hunter.
we already did that.
No, where were you born?
I was born not far from here. And I've been born and raised in Utah my whole life and went to high school up north of Salt Lake there. And oh man, I was into a lot of things as a kid. I have 5 boys in our family and 1 girl, and we played a lot of sports growing up. So football and basketball and soccer
and professional roughhousing
and we had our frequent participant discount at the hospital because of many injuries.
Your poor mom.
Stitches. Not too many broken bones. We have big bones, so lots of stitches.
Yeah,
lots of stitches.
You have a lot of scars. I feel like we've been married 15 years, and I keep finding scars that I'm like, is this a scar? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have 1 on my pinky toe. That's the only scar in my whole body.
Oh man.
Anyways, and then for me, I'm Elise, and I actually grew up in Carson City, Nevada. So if you don't know, it's the capital and it's Nevada. That's how you pronounce it. It's right next to Lake Tahoe. I loved growing up there. I had a great childhood. Just loved it. I was the only child until I was 6. Yeah, 6. And then we adopted my little brother. And then right before we moved from Nevada to New Mexico, we adopted my little sister when I was 16. And so that's like kind of my family dynamic, and moving my senior year of high school was like rocked my world, especially growing up in like a small town. That's like a whole story we could delve into on another day, but ended up being like absolutely best thing for me, even though it was so hard. And at that time, it's funny to think of, like that was my whole world, like my whole world fell apart. And now I'm like, oh, there are way worse things than that. But at that time, it really was like...
Well, when you're a teenager, things matter more.
Yeah, yeah.
That.
And it was so good for me. And And then I came and went to BYU in Provo.
But what were you into growing up?
I was into musical theater and dance, really into dance. I lived at the dance studio.
Effectively, she was a triple threat.
Oh, thanks, hon.
Singing, dancing, and
I've
acting.
never been a good actress, though. I mean, I did musical theater, but the acting always made me really uncomfortable. I'm gonna be honest. But I loved the singing and dancing part. And I also played tennis really competitively, loved tennis. But then I came to Utah to go to school at BYU.
Yeah.
And I had so much fun freshman year. And then sophomore year, halfway through the year, I studied abroad, and I studied abroad in London. It was so much fun. And that was like one of the more spiritual experiences of my life, because I had no plans on going to London. And then it was like an intense feeling that I should go. And I thought it was weird. And I had so much fun while I was there. But it wasn't until after I married you that I realized I would have never met you if I hadn't gone to London, because that's where I met my really good friend, and I wanted to room with her. And she was like, oh, I have a place. And that's when I moved in right next to where you lived.
Yeah.
And got to meet you.
Yep. And I also went to BYU. And
Not at first.
Not at first, it's true. So I went on a mission for 2 years in Mexico.
Church mission.
Donde aprendí español.
He speaks very
I do
good
speak
Spanish.
Spanish pretty well. Well, I mean, I used to speak better, but
The people who speak Spanish with you fluently tell me that you speak very well. So
that's true.
yeah, they do.
But yeah, and then I went to BYU, went to the business school at BYU, and did information systems.
And so we met at church.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember it.
Guilty. She's guilty. I was just going to say that. She beat me to it. She knew I was going to tell her.
Yeah, I knew you were going to embarrass me. I met a lot of people that day. I was brand new in like the congregation. And so.
Yeah, but that was a fun day, and I'll never forget it, even if you don't remember it.
Sorry. I remember the first day I remember you.
Yeah.
Like I was dating his friend, an old roommate, and he burst through the door like Kramer style.
That was the goal.
Yeah.
Kramer.
Yeah. Like burst through the door. I was like, hey, what's everybody doing? And I was like, oh, he's so fun and so cute. I should set him up with one of my friends. And then my ex and I broke up, and I could tell you liked me because you put it out there, but you didn't have my phone number.
It's true.
He went full old school style. Like
Which I highly recommend, everybody. Old school stuff still sometimes works.
Yeah, he would just come and knock on my apartment door, like just super randomly. I would have no clue. Did you ever knock and I wasn't home? Or was I?
No, I think that happened once or twice.
Yeah, but he would just like knock on my door and be like, "Hey, what are you doing? Want to hang out? Or can I catch a ride to this?" Or like, and because of that, I was like, okay, I think he's interested because he has to drive here.
I was trying to be pretty clear.
Yeah. And which I appreciated. I felt like I was really tired of like the games.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciated that. And then we hung out right after your last final.
Yeah.
And then we kind of never stopped hanging out after that.
Yeah. Well, that was so my last final before Christmas. I was in a very intense program. And in fact, they told us day one, like, hey, if you're not married or engaged now,
you will not be.
You will not be by the end of this program.
Which is like so mean.
But they just really worked us hard and, whatever. But that was my last final for that semester. And I was like, oh, I'm free. What should I do? And I was like, I'm going to go see Elise. And I didn't think she'd actually want to come hang out with me. But
all my roommates were gone for Christmas break.
I'm exhausted. I'm going to go to sleep, go turn on a movie and go to sleep. But you're welcome to join me. And she was like, okay. And I was like, oh.
That was the first time we hung out, just the two of us.
Yeah.
And he fell asleep on me.
Highly recommend.
Started snoring.
Highly recommend.
Put on Pirates of the Caribbean, which he still falls asleep to.
And it's a good one to fall asleep to. Great music.
It is great music. There's no doubt. Anyways, but yeah, I fell in love very quickly, but he had never had a long-term girlfriend. Like longer than I'd been like, what was your longest relationship? Well, I had one relationship that was 2 years and one that was like a year and a half. And so I had like long relationships, not a lot of them, but like long relationships. So I was like, this guy has commitment issues. If I push too hard, then I could scare him away. And I really like him. Like I really like hanging out with him. So I just was like, we'll just see. And never pushed it.
I don't
And-
have commitment issues.
Obviously not. It's been almost 15 years. It was always just the wrong person, but I was afraid you had
I
commitment
just
issues.
decided there was a deciding point after a month and a half, 2 months.
If you
Yeah.
weren't going to marry him,
No, you gotta best for everyone to end it.
yeah, I think it's smart. But you can understand
Sure.
why I was like, I'm not going to push it. But we literally became boyfriend, girlfriend because his brother asked if we were, and he said yes. And we never had a discussion about it. And that was almost the same about getting engaged. We were both going our separate ways. We had said, I love you, but we had never talked about getting married. We had never even had like a serious, like DTR, like define the relationship, nothing. And I had no clue where your head was at. Like you would say, I love you, but I had no clue if you were like, I think I want to marry you, or like, this is just fun. Like I had zero clue, but I didn't want to push it. But it was killing me inside.
Clearly.
It really was. So then he was going to go sell for the summer. I was going home for the summer.
So I was going out, and we were going to be across the country from each other,
Yeah.
actually. So
And I just was like, well, I'm going to leave it to him to bring it up. Like, if we're going to stay together, if we're going to break up, like, I'm not going to push the issue. And I kept waiting. Like, the weeks coming up to us leaving, you just never brought it up. And so then you were like, let's go on one, like, last date. And to me, that was like, last date. We're breaking up. We're separating for the summer. And like, it was an awesome date. Like, it was the whole day. We went to the Tulip Festival and we went to dinner, and still nothing. I was just like waiting. And then you were like, should I take you home? And it was like midnight. And my flight was at like 4 a.m. or something.
I was like, you got to be getting home.
And I was like, no, let's go get your parents' truck and drive up on the side of the mountain.
Extend longer. I was like,
Because
all right.
I needed to know.
Meanwhile, I have no idea.
No, he's
No,
just like, do. This is great.
Yeah, finally.
And I'm like, I'm dying inside.
Yeah.
But finally, I couldn't handle it anymore. And we were making out in the back of your parents' truck.
Yes.
Yes. And I was like, okay, I have to know. Like, are we breaking up? Like, what's happening in this summer? Like, tomorrow?
Are we going to keep dating, or are we breaking up?
And you were like, what?
Breaking up? No, we're going to keep dating. What do you mean breaking
And
up?
then you said something along the lines of like, we're closer to getting
I said
married.
we're like closer to getting married than breaking up.
And I
would
was
say.
like, what?
And you said, me too.
Me too. That's what I said. Yeah, I was like, okay, me too.
And I was like, wait.
You were
what
like,
just happened?
what? And I don't even remember exactly how it happened, but then we talked about,
And then I said, wait,
do you want to get
do
married?
you want to get married?
And I was like, yeah, I
Yeah, I
think I
think
want to
I do.
marry you.
Yeah.
And you were like, I think I want to marry you too.
And then I said, are we pre-engaged?
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know, are we? And you were like, I think so. We accidentally got engaged to each other.
Yeah. Not officially, but
Not officially, but it felt that way. And it felt so exciting because I had no clue where you're at. So to find out that you like felt the same way I did was like euphoric.
Yeah.
I don't think I fell asleep. And then I think immediately after that conversation, we talked about how cute our kids would be.
yeah.
And like I was riding high. Like,
Me too.
yeah.
Me too.
And then
Me
that
too.
summer sucked.
Yeah. It's a good thing that
It's
we
a good
ended on
thing.
that note, because
Oh, I think
It
if
was a
we hadn't
rough
have had
summer.
a DTR, I think we might have broken up over
I-
the center instead of.
now knowing what I know, I
Yeah.
guarantee that would have been the case.
I'm really glad I asked you that question.
Me too. I didn't know we were on.
Been nice.
Well, there was a lot.
A turning point.
Let's
There was a
leave
turning
it at that. There was a lot I did not know was happening.
Yeah. But so I went out to visit him in DC where he was selling pest control. It was horribly hot and horribly humid, but I love DC. I have a lot of like fond memories of DC going as a kid with my dad works in healthcare and goes to the Capitol a lot.
Yeah.
And so I have my like favorite monuments, and you figured that out. And when I went out there, he proposed. Totally surprised me because I had told you that I wanted to help pick out the ring, and I think it just,
Well,
you didn't remember that part.
I not really. Well, I just I wanted to have something regardless to
So
do
where'd you get the ring?
Costco,
So that
so that you could return it if you so desired.
it's the most guy thing ever. I'll get her.
It was a
Costco
really
ring.
really nice ring, platinum,
It's beautiful.
diamond. I mean, it
I don't
was
have it on anymore,
awesome.
but no, it's beautiful. And I did love being surprised.
Yeah,
And I think the problem is that Costco rings only go down to a size
7,
7, and I have a size
4,
3
3 and 3/4.
quarters
Yeah.
ring. So it proved to be like
Challenging
to get it sized down because it was pave band. So
Yeah.
it was quite the
Thank you, Brother Reed.
yes. Thank you. We had a custom jeweler
friend who
connection that helped us out
on that.
And yeah. Anyways, then we got married. My life was like butterflies and roses, like until we hit infertility.
Yeah,
I mean, I had, the moving during high school, but generally I felt like I had a great childhood. Anything that I really like pushed myself, my parents helped me achieve. I got into the college I wanted. I found the spouse I wanted in the time frame I wanted. Like everything was just going how I planned, I guess. And then it felt like hitting like the most massive brick wall of all time, struggling with infertility. And I don't know. It was also, I think, really hard because my parents struggled with infertility. So I definitely had maybe trauma from that,
Yeah.
like in my childhood, and like not like asking for siblings a lot, and that, like not happening, or the baby in mom's belly, talks was gone or whatever. We went to the fertility center. Oh, I should look it up, but we were there for a whole,
like 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah.
Something like that.
but we got married when I was 21 and I had Lila when I was 25.
It's 4 years. So
I think it was more like
2.5.
2.
Yeah, maybe 2.
Yeah. So we'd been, we'd been married for 2 years when we started trying. And I was pretty quick to go to the fertility center. I think maybe more so than like someone who hadn't experienced any infertility in their life in any way. Because I remember my mom telling me she had wasted a lot of time and that she wished she had gone to the right doctor earlier, and that OBs, they have limited resources. And so like I was definitely true to myself, a little gung-ho about like getting help.
Proactive.
Yeah, I am getting better at knowing myself. And once my brain like decides I want something or want to do something, I like have a little bit of a problem like letting go of it. And I become very determined. So once I like had decided I was ready for kids and I wanted to be a mom, I was like, we're doing this and I'm going all in and we're going to make this happen no matter what. Especially I think as being raised very like in a very religious, conservative like upbringing.
Mhm.
The fertility center was a smack.
Oh yeah, that was.
I mean,
wild.
going from not talking about how babies are made like at all to like someone being up in your business all the time, and like just crazy
like a
things.
team of doctors and nurses.
Yeah.
and everybody knows.
Well,
their
and
business.
even like the very first cycle we did at the fertility clinic, the very first IUI, like I don't know if this is TMI, but like when we we had to collect a specimen, and
that specimen had to be transported.
It had to be transported
And kept warm.
and kept warm, and had to be transported to the fertility center. And I was like, I'll take it. It's on my way, because I was doing, I think, a placement or something for college up north. And so I was like, I got to keep it warm. Like they said to keep it against your skin. And I remember being like, I need my hands to drive. And so I put it in my cleavage. And I just remember driving, being
This is
like,
the oddest
this is
experience.
the oddest thing that's ever happened to me. Like, this is so wild. But really, it was like, it was very, it was hard. I
Yeah.
mean, just all aspects of it, financially, emotionally. I think one of the most difficult parts about infertility for me is that it like kind of tarnished a lot of parts of my life that I really loved.
Yeah.
Like for me, I love going to church and I love,
And we had pretty much our entire life. I was
yeah, love,
raised in the church and been to church every week.
yeah. And I loved going to church. I loved feeling uplifted. I loved like just the feeling there. And it felt like a little reset of every week.
Yeah.
And then
well, and at that time we were helping out with the younger kids at
we
church,
were helping out in the nursery. So,
and we loved it.
oh, I did. I still loved it, but I think
once we started
struggling with infertility, church became so painful.
Yeah, very hard.
It was very hard. And I wish if I could go back, a lot of my pain was self-inflicted, like retroactively looking, because I was so mad at myself that I wasn't enjoying church. Like I felt like there was something wrong with me and I felt so bad that I wasn't enjoying going and that it was so painful and that I couldn't get something out of it. And like, I wish I just would have given myself more grace. Like that, like what I was going through was really hard. And just because I didn't love going to church didn't mean that I didn't love Jesus and that I didn't have faith and all those things. It was the environment because of what we were going through. It was so painful because for me, most of the week, I was a grad student. I was with other, adults doing research, taking tests. I mean, I was distracted. I was with friends, but I wasn't around a lot of kids.
Yeah.
It was really like when we'd go to church and we'd sit down in the pew and there was this beautiful family and it was all these beautiful families and so many kids that it was just like dagger to the heart. It was like a reminder of what I wanted so desperately that I couldn't have like right in front of my face.
Yeah.
And then there were a lot of other elements too that were just like,
yeah.
Like,
I think culturally, that's the other part that was, I think, really challenging at the time is because people, culturally, people expected us to start having kids much sooner.
Yes.
And where it was kind of a common thing. They would be like, "Oh, you've been married for a few years now. Like, you guys gonna have some kids?"
Yeah. Yeah, I think I got pretty good at being a little straightforward because when people would ask, I started just being really honest.
Yeah.
And I think that's
and back then nobody was really very honest. And I think things have changed quite a bit.
I think they have. And I hope that they have for people. But I actually think that's how I started learning that like being open was a lot easier. Like for me, I think everybody's different.
Yeah.
But for me, when I was just suffering in silence and nobody knew what we were going through, like no one could help me either. Yeah. But when I was more open and when someone did ask if I was like, actually, like, we would love to have kids and it's not happening and it's really painful and we're going through all this stuff, one of two things would happen. I would get incredible support and sometimes the support system who came back, and checked on me and knew about it and was concerned and just like gave me love and support. Or you'd get those people that were like, in God's time, when God wants you to have a baby. And, just those things that like, it's not mean and it's not even necessarily wrong.
I'm just trying to help.
But it's not helpful. Like, because then it insinuates that like,
there's something that you need to be doing or
that it's on you or that like, I don't know. And that's just how it always felt.
Yeah.
There were I could make a whole book of all the crazy, hurtful things that were said.
Yeah.
But I actually think that's one of the things that I like learned. And I think you helped me with too, is that when you're emotional, you're so much quicker to be like offended too.
Yeah.
When it's raw, it's an exposed nerve. Like it's so rough. And then when someone says something that doesn't hit right, like it's like a zing. Like it's just emotionally so hard to like take it and not be offended and not take it for what it feels like instead of for the intention behind it.
Sure. Well, and that was that was a time that it was a learning experience for me as well. Cause I would say I'm like neutral. I'm not like overly expressive, but I'm also relatively an open book if you ask me about things.
Yeah.
But what that shared, when you started sharing about it, especially with people, because you kind of led the charge on that front, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that that reached out and were like, "Oh, I've been struggling with this in silence."
Yeah.
I mean, there were, even in our small church group, there were probably 8 couples that came from to us and were like, "Oh, hey,
We're struggling
with this
too."
too," and they were that actually in and of itself. So just you sharing, it created a
Community.
a group,
Yeah.
a support group.
Yeah, for
around
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's probably where I started being like, I like want to share this journey. And
Yeah.
that's actually how like Hunters of Happiness started to grow, you
Yeah.
know, was sharing our infertility journey.
Yeah.
And I think then in a sense it was easier because my account was really small. And I've tiptoed, I've shared some things now that it's larger, and you get
more.
you get a lot more. You get more positive,
More of
more
all.
negative, more vicious, like you get everything. But on a whole, for us, I think sharing has just been a positive. So like I think it ended up bringing happiness in a time that was hard.
Yeah.
Like, and it brought connections, and it brought like moments of growth that if I hadn't been open wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And not even being open in a sense of like with everyone, but choosing certain people. Like some of our best friends to this day were
Yeah.
like our neighbors
Yeah.
who I opened up to, and they saved us in some of the hardest times. Like, anyways, we kind of have like whew, over here, but we did 3 rounds of IUI,
Sure. Yep.
intrauterine insemination. I was young. I
Yeah.
just remember the doctor being like,
Every
"You're
time.
so
Yeah.
young. All the tests are normal.
Every time.
Everything's going to be great." And then after the 3rd IUI, she was like, "Well, I think it's probably better use of your money to do IVF,
Well,
and you'll get all your babies
Yep.
from like 1 round. It's like putting in a big investment, but it'll pay off big time." And like, we were like, okay. And I think that was single-handedly the hardest day of my entire life, probably.
Yeah.
Like up until that point, I don't know if I can think of a harder day since, but like my brain could not even comprehend IVF not working.
Yeah. Well, that's because, I mean, we fully believed. I mean, all the
Oh,
doctors,
fully believed.
I mean, every step of the way, though, they were like, "Oh, you guys are young, healthy. This is going to be no
Yeah.
problem."
Yeah.
And then, then it didn't work. And that was 3 rounds of UI.
And that was our first.
And then,
And it was so bad because our first round of IVF did not work, but it not only did not work, we retrieved 30 eggs, about half of or 20 of them fertilized.
Yeah.
And then it just kept dropping
Like
and drastically. And we just kept being like, whoa. And so then on day 5 is when you would transfer or freeze. And we only had 2 embryos.
Yeah.
We went from 30 to 2, which is a massive drop off. And that should have given me like a clue.
Well, we didn't know that was a massive drop.
No, we kind of learned.
I even directly asked the doctors. They didn't want to tell us.
I don't
was
think
like,
they did. No.
Because I was like, well, is that normal? And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, there's always some that fall off.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, now we know that's
Now we know.
major fall off.
Yeah. So, but we transferred both. And I was so sure we were having twins.
Yeah.
I remember being on Pinterest planning twin nurseries. Like I was so excited. And so when that IVF failed, we literally lost everything. We lost all the money that we had put into it, all the time, all the effort. And we were left not only not pregnant, but with no embryos, like completely grand zero, nothing. We got absolutely nothing from it except being absolutely shattered. Like I was shattered. And I feel like looking back, I was really in my own grief. Like I don't even remember like how you felt. How did you feel?
Well, I mean, I was very disappointed. But I was more, I think I could tell you were really, really struck by it. I was, as well, and it was a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of effort. And
for me, it was like, if that didn't work, I'm never going to be a mom.
Yeah. And I wasn't there yet. I think I was just like,
what is going on?
Well, I think what was going through my mind is now we have to freaking do it again.
Yeah.
We have to do it again.
Yeah.
And from a starting point, I was not worried about getting pregnant at all.
No, and I was.
And you, before we even got going.
Yeah. Well, and also because I'm a girl and I felt like always something was off
Yeah.
as far as like cycles and hormones and stuff like
And I
that.
knew nothing about that.
Yeah. No. Mr. Family of all boys and the toughest girl I know. But yeah, so that first IVF failed. I think we took like a month off.
Yeah, not long.
Not very long because I'm not a patient person. And yeah, IVF started on IVF number 2. And that's when we changed the protocol a little bit and we added the human growth hormone. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Like, all I remember is that she was like, you have to go to the specialty pharmacy, like way up north. You need
Liquid gold.
don't tell anyone you're getting it. You need to have a like a cooler. You need to take a cooler to put it in. Yeah, they called it liquid gold.
Yeah.
And I guess if I might be wrong, but from what I remember was that they like people smuggled it and used it for like bodybuilding.
Yes.
And that it was kind of a black market drug for
Absolutely.
bodybuilding.
Yeah.
If
I remember correctly, it was like $1,200 per
ounce.
ounce.
It was the
or something like
tiniest
that.
little
Yeah.
vial. And it was, I remember paying like $1,200 for
Yeah.
it. I'm sure it's more now. I remember when the pharmacist handed me, she was like, don't tell anyone you have this, put that in that cooler and drive directly home. And I was like, okay.
Am I going to get mugged?
Yeah, I was like, I feel like I'm like a drug dealer now. Like, what is this life? But that cycle, I think I was totally numbed out on that one.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't have hope anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I was just so numb. Like, I was so tired of like the hopefulness and then it getting crushed that I just like was counting on it not working. Like, I was just like, I'll count on it not working. And then if it does, I'll be happy. But I've talked about this before on my Instagram, but I think that's when I really learned about why hope is so important and really tied like what hope means for like your personal happiness. Because although that IVF also failed, I mean, we did get pregnant, but we miscarried like within, a week and a half.
10 days, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So we thought we were pregnant for all of 5 days
Yeah.
before I started bleeding. Even though that one failed, just like the first one failed, I was miserable the whole time. Like, I was just like pessimistic, depressed, negative. Like, I wasn't hopeful at all that it would work. And I remember afterwards looking back and being like, well, the first one I was hopeful and it failed. And the second one, I wasn't hopeful and it failed. And the failures were equally as painful. Like, it didn't take away from the pain of the failure.
Mm-hmm.
But the process was so much better when I was filled with hope.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was so much happier when I was hoping for good things, when I had a positive attitude, when I was like, I think that this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, my life, besides the, few days of when it failed, was so much better. And I feel like that's when I was like, that's the point of hope. Like, it's so that the process is happier. Like, it doesn't really impact how painful a failure can be. Because I used to think that if I'm more hopeful, then the fall's going to be greater.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's not really that. It's that the process is better. The day-to-day is better.
Yeah.
If I choose to be hopeful. And I really took that going forward from there.
Sure.
Like, it was still painful. It was still hard. I was still like not in the best mind place. But I decided I'm going to hope that it works out. I'm going to try to, like believe that it's going to work out the way I want it to.
Yeah.
And I'll hit the hard parts when it comes, but it's so much happier like day in and day out if I can be hopeful.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've always been a big believer in positive mindset.
You are possibly the most positive person that I've ever met.
I don't know about that. But
yes.
But yeah, it goes back to my ninja training as a as a young, I don't know, like
Did you
as
go
boy.
to like taekwondo or something?
No, I had an uncle that was pretty deep into it, Mark. And he taught us some things, but I just was really into mind over matter and positive mental
Positive
space.
thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because of that, I always would talk positively about how it would work out eventually, and
Yeah.
that was a conscious choice. But it's similarly, I mean, if you it does definitely help you enjoy the process better,
Yeah,
and
it does.
like just level up your life, even
Even if it's the same outcome in the
yeah,
end.
even if it's the same outcome, it doesn't change much. But I actually believe that it does change. It does change not just your outlook. It increases
The likelihood.
the likelihood.
Well,
Increases
I do
the
think I've kind of morphed into definitely believing in the power of positive thinking
yeah
much more than I ever used to, in that we don't really understand the dynamics of it, but like manifesting, positive thinking, all those things,
yeah.
like they do something chemically to your
Yeah.
body. I
Well,
think they have an
I don't even
impact.
know if it's chemically to your body, but I think it's almost with it like levels up your relationships, levels up the possibilities in your life in a way
Yeah.
that you can't connect it, you can't see all the things, but it
Yeah.
does definitely have a positive effect on
Yeah.
on your life.
Yeah, I believe that. So then,
So then,
so our second idea.
round 3.
Yeah. Well,
IVF.
actually, this is where it kind of takes a turn, because we did our
Sure.
second round of IVF, and
On day 5.
on day 5 we got 4 embryos, and which was 2 more than our first time. Still a big drop off, and they were hoping for more, but so we transferred 2. That failed, so we had 2 frozen embryos, and I could not take another loss, and the genetic testing was very new at the time, but I was like, what can we do? Like, and she was like, you could genetically test these embryos. And that was our fertility doctor's assumption, was that there was genetically something off. And that's why things weren't sticking and babies weren't growing. And so we were like, it's so much money, but we decided to pay for the genetic testing. And at the time, it was up to 8 eggs. So you paid the same amount if it was 1 versus 8.
Yeah.
And so we only had the 2, but we decided to do that. And then she encouraged us to look into other options, because it was like she didn't think things looked great.
Yeah.
And that the odds were not great. And so we started looking into using an egg donor.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Another weird thing to be doing in your life.
that was maybe the oddest experience of all of the fertility stuff, because we went in and it was like binders of women. And like, I don't know. It was just so odd. I was like, hey, babe, which one do you want to have a baby with? And like, that's obviously not what's happening, but it kind of is. It was just the weirdest thing. And it was like, which one looks kind of like me? Which one has similar genetics to me? It was so odd, the whole thing. And I think it was really uncomfortable for you.
It was,
because you just were like,
experience.
whatever. Like,
I was like, you can choose.
you choose, like,
choose the person that you think looks the most like you, and
yeah. And these are all egg donors. Like, they've signed up, and
awesome and
amazing
egg donors. Nothing.
Just incredible. That they're willing to having been through IVF, like, to offer to do that for someone, you're an angel. Like,
Yeah.
That's amazing. And you should be heavily compensated for it. But yeah, that was really odd. But we picked an egg donor, and we kind of started moving in that direction.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, like, an egg donor would use an egg donor's egg, and it would use Scott's sperm, but it would be implanted in me.
Right.
And be born as our child. And so we were kind of in the starting process of that. And I was at work, and I got a call from the embryologist at the clinic. And he was like, hey, I'm just thawing your embryos to send for genetic testing. And one of the 2 just shriveled up and died. And I remember saying it really nonchalantly, and me being like, wait, what? And he was like, yeah, that's super rare. Like, that usually doesn't happen, which means it most likely was genetically abnormal that it would do that. So you just got the 1. Do you still want me to genetically test it? Because now it's even more per embryo, right?
It's for 1 embryo.
For 1 embryo, I think it was $5,000.
Yeah.
And
that's the number that comes to mind.
And I remember being in so much shock. I was like, yeah, just test it. And then I called you.
Yeah.
And I was like, they just said one of our embryos died. So it's just the 1, and it's going to be $5,000. albeit we'd already spent like all of our money on IVF cycles and weird drugs. And I was like, should we not do that? Should we save that money and put it towards this embryo or this egg donor like cycle? Like, what do I do? And you were like, that's probably smarter. And I was like, it is probably smarter. Like the odds are overwhelming.
Yeah. If they've all shriveled up and died.
Yeah. We've had 60 eggs retrieved at that point.
Yeah.
And all of them have died except this one.
Yeah.
Like, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to call him back. So I called the embryologist back and was like, hey, let's not let, we're actually like, let's hold off. And he was like, oh, sorry, already did it.
Already sent it.
And I was
Too
like,
late.
Okay, like, all right, what's done is done. We'll move on. I can't even remember if it was 2 weeks later. I can't even remember. But there was a call from the fertility clinic on my phone. I think I was at work again. Or maybe I was at home. I can't remember.
I don't know.
But when I answered, it was the doctor. And usually it was always a nurse who called me or the embryologist. Usually not the doctor unless it was like the results of IVF. And she was like, Elise, you will never believe it. And I was like, what? And she was like, that embryo is genetically normal. And I actually think what she said is a miracle has happened. And I was like, are you serious? And she was like, yeah, it looks perfect. And then she was like, do you want to know the gender? I can tell you the gender, which I did not even know. I mean, it makes sense that they're looking at all the genetics that they're going to see the gender of the baby. But I just like, because I still slightly feel bad that I said yes because you were not on the call.
Yeah.
But I was not prepared. And like, how do you say no?
I want
to. So I was just like, yes. And she said, it's a girl. And I really felt like as soon as she said it's a girl, like this overwhelming, I don't know if it was because we had never gotten to that point of ever knowing the gender of any of these babies we had tried to like get Earthside, but I just had this overwhelming feeling it was actually going to happen. Like kind of like even after all of these losses, it was, I felt like peace, like just like, this is it. Like this is going to happen. And I can't even remember how I told you.
Well, you just called me right after that.
I did?
I was at work, yeah.
Yeah.
And
but I didn't tell you the gender till you came home.
That's true.
I remember we were laying in bed.
Yeah.
And I said
there's going to be a girl.
No, I said, do you want to guess what you think the gender is? And you said, I think it's a girl because of how happy you are. I always wanted a girl first. I think just because I'm the oldest in my family and I'm a girl and I loved it. But, and I was like, it is a girl. But it felt surreal.
Yeah, totally.
And then it felt like everything moved lightning speed after that.
Well, it really, I mean, the next part is actually the part that it really was like, oh my gosh, for me, because it was 10 days or 2 weeks is, the next like benchmark that you have to get to. And it was right about,
so we transferred her.
Okay. Sorry. So we transferred her and then that's what you're saying.
Into your uterus. Yes.
And then 6 weeks in is.
Well, do you remember how traumatizing it was? Because we transferred her and I was 6 weeks. I was actually 5 weeks, 6 days.
Yeah.
So I wasn't fully 6 weeks pregnant yet. And I woke up bleeding.
Yeah.
Which is exactly how I had miscarried the second round of IVF. And so I woke up and was bleeding. And I think you were more distressed than I was
think
that
I was.
time.
That's because I was at that point. I mean, I had been positive and been working through it and fully believed we were going to get there.
And then it felt like we were finally there.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was like, oh, this is the one. It's happening. Here we go. And then 6 weeks in, that's when I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And I was really having a hard time holding it together.
Yeah, I remember that.
You called the doctor. We went straight to the doctor.
And she said, like, you're really early. And she was like,
we can find.
We'll see if we can find a heartbeat, but you might not be able to tell if you've lost it for a little while. And that was the coolest ever.
It was.
Because they told us they probably couldn't find a heartbeat.
Well,
just because it was so tiny. She was
So
so
tiny.
tiny.
Yeah.
They did the vaginal ultrasound, which I was sadly very used to at that point. Oh, if you know, you know. It's horrible. And that's the one that
I
looks
remember.
like a very
Oh, I remember.
long stick. But yeah, and it like popped up right away. The heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, and that was so cool. But on the
It was so
ultrasound, she
cool.
was
Gummy bear.
took like 2 minutes of finding, but went right in there, zoomed in, turned on the volume, and we heard what ended up being Lila's heartbeat at
Oh,
pre 6 weeks,
yeah.
and
like the
the
tiniest little-
calm that
Oh, gosh.
came when we heard her heartbeat, and they were like, no, everything seems like she's going
Oh my
well.
goodness. Yeah.
That flowed over me, and I know you too, but
Yeah.
that one struck me more than any of the other ones because it was such a roller coaster
Yeah.
of a day, and yeah, I felt
Yeah.
much better at the end.
And then pregnancy was great with Lila.
Yeah,
And
except for you were very sick.
I was way more sick with Grace, but
Yeah,
that's another story. But I mean, normal. It was
normal sickness, and you were happy to be sick.
I was
and-
happy to be sick. I was so happy for all of it.
Yeah.
And that was a super exciting time. It felt like finally like a switch turned in our lives because like you had sold your business and we got pregnant, like all like boom, boom.
Yeah,
And then so we bought our first home
yeah,
and moved in and like we're getting it ready to have a baby. Like it just felt like life went from like what is going on to just like, whoa, it's my dream. Like it was just
rocket speed. Yeah,
oh, it was so great. I was so happy. And then we hit some bumps again when I delivered Lila, our oldest. That's still the most traumatic thing in my life
yeah,
was I had like pretty severe postpartum complications. It's called postpartum preeclampsia. So it's preeclampsia that happens after you deliver, which is really like difficult. A lot of doctors don't know what to do because usually if you have preeclampsia, you deliver and that's the cure.
yeah,
And so it really felt like it was very eye-opening to the lack of postpartum care that exists in the healthcare system. I hope it's better now. It's been a long time since I've delivered, but it was really shocking and horrible.
yeah,
Basically, I felt very discarded, and that's literally what happened. I mean, I felt like you and my parents were fighting tooth and nail for me to get care because I wasn't doing well. And they didn't do a great job of like educating me.
Well, there's no handoff. I mean, so
No, they were just done, like delivered
Yeah.
the baby, done. And my blood pressure was sky high and they could not control it. And then they would offhandedly, like I just got really messed up because they would say like we got to keep this blood pressure down. We don't want you to stroke out overnight. Like, because
yeah,
when it's this
which is-
high, you could
which is very
have
common,
a
of course.
stroke. And I think for them that those are
pretty normal.
pretty normal turns. But for me, I was like, I am going to die.
Yeah,
And honestly, that wasn't outside of the possibilities. I really think if we hadn't have got the blood pressure cuff, I think I might have passed away that night because they put me on a mag bag to bring down my blood pressure and to reduce all my intense swelling and edema that was happening. And then they sent me home. They're like, oh, your blood pressure is normalized. It normalized because I was on a mag bag, not because it was actually down. And my dad went and bought a blood pressure cuff and the doctor said she doesn't need to do that. And my dad was like, no, I'm going to buy a blood pressure cuff. But my dad specifically asked the doctor, should she be taking her blood pressure and how often? And he was like, oh, she's going to be fine. It's unnecessary. You don't need to do that. And it was very necessary. We got discharged from the hospital. I think I was there for longer because of everything. I think I got discharged at like 5 days postpartum. Missed your sister's wedding.
yeah,
And but once I got home, I started really not feeling well, and I felt like my vision was pretty blurry. And I remember you did not want it to be the case.
Oh no.
You were so exhausted, so tired, and you were like, just come to bed. And I was like, I've got to take my blood pressure first. And it was like 210/100.
something.
It was
120, I think. 100.
Oh, that's right. It was so massively high. I called my doctor and he was like, drive straight to the emergency room. Don't stop if someone tries to pull you over. Like, don't stop for anything. Like, I will meet you there. And that's when I got readmitted. And that was so traumatic.
Yeah.
We had done so much to get Lila here. And then like they told me I had to be readmitted because they couldn't figure out my blood pressure. It was too high. They couldn't get a medication that would bring it down. And they didn't want me to have a stroke. And the way it was communicated wasn't like, they didn't do a good enough job of saying, if you're here at the hospital, you will not have a stroke.
Yeah.
Like it felt, and there were a lot of murmurings. Like the doctor would tell the nurse, like, she just needs to calm down. And I felt like if I could relax more, that my blood pressure would come down.
Yeah.
And that was really traumatic. But there was no way, like relaxing was not going to bring that blood pressure down.
No. Well, and the other part is that when you were readmitted, they couldn't put you back in maternal.
They wouldn't, which I think was so wrong, and we probably should have pushed more. But it was the middle of the night. It was just my mom and I there because you were so tired. You were passed out. We had told you, we thought we weren't going to be admitted. So we were like, we'll do the discharge stuff. You go home and sleep.
Yeah.
And then they were like, actually, you're being readmitted and your baby cannot be readmitted.
Right.
And so on day 5 of like being postpartum, I was separated from my baby.
Yeah.
And that was the worst.
Yeah.
And especially without the understanding of like that I wasn't going to have a stroke. I was going to be okay eventually. No one explicitly told me that.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like the only thing I kept hearing is, we don't know what's wrong with you and we can't figure out how to get your blood pressure down. Like the way I was feeling, especially looking back with like postpartum recovery and hormones and all the other thing that's going on, like I legitimately thought that I was going to die. I thought I was saying goodbye to my baby and then I would never see her again.
Yeah.
Because they were like, she's not allowed on the medical floor. Like it's way too dangerous for her. Like I just remember holding her and like taking pictures of her, and like those pictures give me PTSD. I have a really hard time on her birthday of looking at the pictures of her birth because it honestly caused me massive health anxiety because I just remember taking pictures of her and like stroking her head and just thinking I was never going to see her again.
Yeah.
And then
That'd be awful.
It was horrible. And then I remember just heaving, sobbing, like handing her to my mom.
Yeah.
And then because we had told you to go home, I was all alone.
Yeah.
And they pushed me back on the stretcher, like through the doors, like totally movie style. Like my mom's standing there holding the baby and like they push me backwards on the stretcher through the swinging doors, and she's just standing there holding my baby and the door's just like shut and I'm just alone with it was a guy nurse too. And I was just, nothing against guy nurses, but I don't know if he knew how to like, but I was just uncontrollably sobbing, just, not okay. That was the worst. And then I think I was in the hospital 2 more days, and we had a bunch of miracles that happened because they kept saying they didn't know what to do with me, and the cardiologist would come and he's like, well, I don't know about postpartum. And it was just like being juggled around and nobody could give me a clear answer on what was going on. And finally we got a cardiologist and worked on prescribing me the right dose. And it was wild what my body needed. It was like double the max dose of a blood pressure medication, which I didn't know you could do, but it
For
was
a cardiologist, you can't.
Yeah, it was wild. It had horrible side effects though. I remember when I finally got home, like taking care of Lila, and at like 20 minutes after I would take the medication, like I would look down and I would have heart palpitations that were so intense, my necklace would come off my chest.
Yeah.
Because it was like, it was horrible. It was scary. The whole thing was scary, but worth it.
But worth it.
But worth it.
And
I think God knew. He knew that like Lila needed a sibling and that I was pretty traumatized and that I really wanted to give her a sibling. And that's when about a year later, we went in and we're like, okay, we want to do IVF again. And I was like, I don't know if I can do it. Like, because of all of that, because of all the IVF, all of the postpartum trauma. You were so positive and it bugged me. You were like, I think we're just gonna have this baby.
No, well, you said, I think we should start trying. And I said, I think we already are. Like, it's already.
Because we're not preventing.
Yeah, we're not preventing. So we're already trying. And I think it'll just happen. And maybe it'll just happen.
And I was like, do not say that to me.
Yeah, she did not like it when I
was like, I can't handle that pressure of thinking like, this is what we have to do. I don't want to think about that. But I went into the fertility doctor to start the IVF process again. And that's when they told me I had Graves' disease.
Yeah, that's right.
When I got diagnosed with Graves' disease. And it just felt like the punches kept coming. I was like, are you kidding me? And they were like, you can't do IVF until you get your thyroid cut out. I was like, what? Long story short, right.
So that was like 2 months later, a month later?
No, I started the meds for my thyroid to do the surgery.
Yeah.
And I had been taking them for like 3-4 days. And you took them for 2 weeks before surgery. And I had been taking them for a few days. And I knew it said on the bottle that you couldn't take them while you're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I woke up one morning and you were still in bed. And I went to go take them. And that's the only time I've legitimately, maybe one of 2 times in my life that I swear I heard a voice. And it was like, do not take that medicine until you take a pregnancy test. And I was like, like, no way.
For what?
Yeah, for what? I've never been pregnant without IVF ever. Even with IVF, hasn't really worked very well. And I hate pregnancy tests. They are the worst. They are very painful. And so I was just like, don't listen to that. And then I got my cup out of the cabinet and was at the fridge filling it up. And again, it felt like a voice that was like, take a pregnancy test before you take that medication. And I was like, fine, like this will now bug me. And I think I had like one that I dug in there, and you were just asleep. You had no idea.
No, I didn't.
Had no clue what I was doing. And like 2 pink lines so fast. That was the best.
And you screamed, from the bathroom.
Scott, I'm pregnant.
And I did not even know she was taking a test.
Yeah, he was like, what? And then I came out and showed it to you. And do you remember the first words you said?
We just saved so much money.
This is the most typical husband answer. When
you were looking at doing all the things that we had done before.
Expensive. It's so expensive. And that's definitely one of the unfairities of it, is to watch other people spend their money on homes and vacations and trips. And you're spending all the money in the world on something that everyone else is doing for free.
Yeah.
Feels very unfair. But yeah, and that's Gracie. That's our second daughter. And I think the magnitude of that miracle has set in more as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
Like I knew it was a miracle, but watching them have each other.
Yeah.
They're best friends. And it would have been so long for me to get surgery, recovery, and do IVF.
Yeah. Like did 3 rounds of IVF, but the first time it was months each time.
And they're only 20 months apart.
Yeah.
And I was so excited when I found out she was a girl too, and that they were going to be. I think you even wanted a girl just because you and your brother were also.
Yeah, my brother and I are 21 months apart.
Yeah.
And we had a great relationship. Yeah. We shared friends. We did a lot of things together all growing up. So it was amazing. We
both like wanted them to have that, and they do.
Yeah.
And it's the best. I think especially like at the time I was like, oh, maybe my body just figured it out. And like if we wanted more, we could have more. But since then we found out, nope, she was a miracle.
Yeah.
And we're just so grateful for them.
Yeah.
They're the best thing in our lives. And so here's a question. If you could go back and not experience infertility, would you do it?
Oh, that's a tough one because it was rough. But on the other hand, we did learn a lot from it, I think, about ourselves and about just, I think, life and in general. So it's tough to trade. I don't know. But yeah, I think I would not want to do it again. Maybe I could learn that stuff another way.
I've thought about this a lot. And there's aspects of it that I wouldn't change at all. Like how it changed me.
Yeah.
I would not take it back. Like it drastically changed me into a better person. Like, not that I wasn't a great person before, but I was pretty aloof. I remember sitting in my closet after we had, like, I don't know, a few rounds had like failed or something. And I was just sobbing, and I wasn't even crying so much for like the pain I was experiencing, but it was the first time in my life I realized all the people I love feel this type of pain. Like it might not be this exact thing that I'm going through, but like they all have their own hard things that feel this heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never had something like this. And it was like shocking to realize that so many people felt such heaviness
Yeah.
all the time, because I had just lived a very privileged life as far as not feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, I feel like I didn't give people as much grace. I wasn't as compassionate. I wasn't as empathetic. Like it changed me and the way I look at people and the way that I interact with people and the way I want to serve people, like night and day.
Mm.
Like it made me so much better that I wouldn't take that back. I would totally take it back if it meant we could have more kids in a heartbeat. And like, before we get all the comments that are like, you know, why don't you adopt? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? It's not as straightforward and simple. And you also don't know all the things that we've tried.
Yeah.
You don't know, like, and I'm a little bit more guarded than I used to. And maybe one day I'll share, but like, you don't know the whole picture. And unless you've experienced infertility, you also don't know like everything about it.
Yeah.
And what's easier and what's harder. And it's just so unique. And yeah, I think that's all I would take back. Cause I would give anything, you know, if we could have more Lila and Gracies. They're just the best part of our life. So
they are.
But like how it changed me and refined me, I wouldn't take that back.
Well, that's what I was basically saying. I mean, you can't. I don't know.
Because then we would probably have to trade it for something else.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is that it was really hard for us, and
I still have my moments.
Sometimes there's no way to learn some things except for really going through really hard things.
Yeah, I wish that wasn't the case. But
how did that going through that affect your outlook on happiness more generally?
I feel like I should be prepared for this question. I think before going through infertility, I thought happiness was something that was caused based off of your circumstances, based off of how things were going in your life, you know, based off of the things you had or you accomplished or, you know. And after going through infertility, I felt like happiness is something that you work for, that you have to pursue, that you choose every day.
Yeah.
And while it is true that, you know, your circumstances, but that you choose those things. You choose who you surround yourself with. You choose the things you work at. You choose, you know, but I kind of felt like it was something that happened to you. And then after infertility, I more felt like it was something that you worked for, that you had to actively choose happiness. Like, and that when you did, it made life better.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't necessarily, I used to think happiness came easily, and realizing that for a lot of people, and as you get older and life gets more complicated for pretty much all adults, it's something that you work for.
Yeah.
And you create habits to have. And it's, you know, every little decision you make throughout your day impacts your personal happiness. The way you talk to someone, the way you talk about yourself, to yourself, the way you interact with someone. If you decide to give someone grace, if you decide to, you know, what your priorities are that day, or if you put effort into yourself, like all those little things add up into your personal happiness.
Yeah.
And that you're really in control of it. And I think that's what I learned through that process, because there was definitely a time where I was like, I am a victim of the situation, which we absolutely were.
Yeah.
Like totally rightfully so. But I felt so out of control in my life because of all the emotions. Like I felt like I was trying to bury all these emotions that I had never felt before, that I really hated experiencing. I hated experiencing anger, jealousy for other people
And
getting
yeah.
pregnant.
Mhm.
Like all these emotions that I had never experienced before were happening, and I hated them. Like I hated feeling those feelings, and I spent a lot of energy trying to like shove them down and put them in a box with a lid,
Yeah.
and so much energy was spent like shoving them down. And it was really my dad who was just like, Elise, you're depressed, you're sad,
Mm.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, this is something super hard you're going through, and you need to feel those feelings. But when you allow yourself to feel them and to move through them, you take control instead of you just trying to push them away. They're constantly fighting you, and they're impacting you so much. They are in control. But if you take control and say, okay, I'm going to feel these things, but I'm going to have a plan. Like, I'm going to, I'm going to be sad and cry and wallow for the next. I remember him saying, like, either you only know, like maybe it's a sad day, and that's, you need to feel those things, or maybe it's a really sad week and it's going to be, but make a plan. Like he called it bookend your feelings.
Mhm.
Like plan to do something, feel those feelings, and then plan for how you're going to stop them.
Mhm.
And how you're going to be in control. Like, and whether that's you can know what that is. If it's like, I'm going to feel really sad, and then at 5 p.m. I'm going on a run, or at 6 p.m. I'm going to go serve somebody, or I'm going to go make a little note or a little gift, or, but like, I feel like really that helping move through the emotion, feeling it, going through it, instead of trying to just like have it not exist,
Mhm.
really helped me realize that in order to have happiness, you have to allow yourself to feel other feelings too.
Mhm.
Like I thought, if I'm going to be happy, I can only feel happy.
Mhm.
I can't also feel today angry and sad and jealous. Like I can't be a happy person if I feel those things.
Mm.
But realizing I can. Like if I feel those things, but at the end of the day, I decide to be happy and decide to put action behind it, like then those feelings are in the past and they'll come back and things will trigger them, but I've moved like through them, and that puts them behind me for that day.
Mhm.
And that really, like, I'm sure everyone's different, but that really worked
Yeah.
for me.
Well, and so I think what you're getting at is that you learned that happiness, you are actually in control of your happiness more than you realized
Yes.
before.
Yes. Yes.
And that is, I think that's certainly true,
What do you feel like you learned about happiness through our infertility journey? You should be prepared for this.
Yeah.
You just asked me this question.
That I mean, I come from a different history where, I kind of always believed that you could always just force it. You could always just force, you could always, so like that's
Mind over matter.
yeah, exactly. It's a mind over matter mentality that like, no, you just choose to be happy. And I think from that, I learned that like that's, you can't just do that for everything, right? Like it is super valuable and a good way to approach most problems, but you can't just do it for
So we
everything.
both learned we have to feel it.
Have to feel it. That's right.
The hard things.
So
You
let's go
can't run from them.
That's right. Let's go back to you in your hardest moment. What would be your advice to yourself back then?
To be kinder to myself.
Mm.
I think
More forgiving.
Yeah, I think I was really hard on myself. I wanted to be this like strong warrior that was just like always believing, always happy, always positive, like knowing that it would all work out. And that's not how I felt. And I struggled a lot with just dealing with a lot of emotions that I had never felt before. I think I would have been a lot nicer to myself.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, same question. Let's
Mhm.
see. I don't know. I guess I would say that feeling it actually is important for me, especially as I tried to understand you, right? I think if I had just like tried harder to feel it, I think I would have been able to
I
understand.
think we did
the
a
way you
pretty
were
good
feeling
job
better.
looking back, especially being very different
Yeah.
you and I, like, I'm emotional, you're not as emotional. You know, like, I think we did a pretty good job of staying close to each other
Yeah.
through such a hard, and I think we kind of just clung to each other.
Yeah.
Like, and I think you did a good job of like not fully understanding, but just because you didn't understand didn't mean you weren't compassionate.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't get frustrated when you weren't as emotional or sensitive as like maybe I wanted you to be or
Yeah.
concerned. You know what I mean? I think that I remember having moments where it was like he's not as worried as I am about this. But I remember early on being like, he's not going to be like, and if I tried to hold him to some standard that I think of how he should care about this, like this is not gonna go well. So
Yeah.
I think I feel like it made us stronger as a
Well,
couple because we just really
It-
gave each
like,
other
we were both
grace.
honest, right?
Yeah,
with,
we were.
with about how we were doing and how we
Yeah.
were feeling, and
Yeah.
while that was
Well, we were
maybe
just each
challenging
other's
to
safe place and gave like each other the grace that maybe we needed to give more to ourselves.
ourselves, yeah, maybe.
The last question I wanted to ask you about infertility was, is infertility still hard?
I don't know. It's kind of compartmentalized for me. Like it was this time period, and now like our life is so good that we don't, and it was such a like I don't know, such a weight on us for so long,
Yeah,
and even so, I would say generally no,
that's what I would
but
say too.
but every now and then we get, when we get asked to talk about it, or when we like take ourselves back to that time, it is heavy still.
See, and yeah, I think more mine still heaviness is the moments that I do let myself feel sad that I don't have the family that I really, like, if I could choose, would have.
Yeah.
Like, and I choose not to dwell on it because it doesn't do anything.
Sure.
I choose to dwell on what I do have, which is amazing family, amazing daughters. Like, life is so good. But sometimes I do allow myself to be like, it's a gigantic bummer that I don't have 4 or 5 kids.
Yeah.
Like, because they're my favorite thing in the whole world. And I would give up literally any of the material possessions, any of the success, anything, for more of them.
Yeah.
But it's not that simple. And so I'll have moments where I'm like, that is a bummer still.
Yeah.
And like that, it still exists. Like infertility still affects me in those moments. But I feel like I do better at moving through them, where I just sit and I'm like, yeah, like that's sad. And that's a bummer. And kind of get in my feelings, sad about it, and then move through it.
Yeah.
And get back to the
wonderful life that we live now.
Just so grateful for what we have. So on a whole, no, I don't feel like it affects my life, but I have moments, and I feel like they get fewer and farther between.
Sure.
As we finish this part of our interview, we're going to ask every guest that we have 2 questions. So let's ask those to each other. What is your key to happiness?
Oh boy. I would say my key to happiness is a couple things. So one is I still fully believe in the value that there's a high value in a positive mindset. You spoke of it as hope, and that is there's nothing that will bring you more happiness than choosing to look at any situation in a positive light. That's the first thing. And then the second thing that I just feel like is the most underrated value or underrated practice in an individual's life that will bring you the greatest happiness is actually gratitude. Understanding, just making the conscious effort to be grateful for what you do have, what you do, the experience that you're going through in your life. That those two things together, I think, are the key to happiness as far as I understand life.
Love it.
Same question.
I feel like I should be more prepared.
What is the key to happiness?
No, what is your key?
That's right. Sorry. What is your key to happiness in life?
I think I would have to say gratitude, which feels like I'm just copying you, but we do think a lot alike.
Similarly.
Yeah, no, I think from a young age, I felt that way because my my dad's a big believer in gratitude and was just like, that's the root of all goodness, is if you can feel gratitude, express gratitude. Like, he was so intense about saying thank you and being grateful for all that you're given all the time from anyone, like any amount of effort, any, amount of help, any, anything. And that it really changes the lens you look at life through.
Yeah.
Like, if you
Totally.
I truly believe you can find gratitude in any situation, and even in some of the darkest times that you can, and that it just infuses light. And it helps not only like visually infuse light, but it also like lighten you, like lighten your load. And that there's always something to be grateful for. And I think that that's probably my key to happiness. And then in a cheesy way, I would say you are my key to happiness. I feel
We
like
work on happiness together.
Yeah, I just feel like that's when I feel happy, is when I'm with you and when we're with our kids. And that's if I need to feel buoyed up, or if I need that infusion of happiness in my life, you're a pretty good key. If I come to you, it works out. You lighten my day.
You lighten my day too. I
Oh,
was thinking more
cheesy.
generally.
I know. I couldn't help myself. Okay.
All right, to our last segment, which we have called
Going to be called
the Trader Joe Bag, where we take questions from you.
From our Trader Joe bag.
Our Trader Joe Bag. If
you know, you know.
You know.
So today, let's see. First question. I'm pulling it out of the Trader Joe's bag. Oh, this is a good one that I got a lot. Would love to hear more about gluten-free options at Disney.
Oh.
Haven't been to Disney since I've been gluten-free.
Yeah.
We went to Disney World. And it was the first time going to Disney World since you were diagnosed with celiac disease. So tell the people, how is being celiac at Disney World?
It's I did miss some of the treats, if I'm being honest, but they were amazingly accommodating. I mean, everywhere we went, they were, they had everything there. There was something to eat everywhere for sure. Like anywhere we went to eat, they had a separate gluten-free option, and they actually had all the dietary, any allergies that you probably would have. They had options for that.
And were they good?
They were really good about marking them too. So they would mark everything with a purple stick to make sure that everybody knew it was gluten-free.
And in a gluten-free kitchen, gluten-free fryer.
Yeah.
Like, it was always prepared in a separate allergy kitchen.
And at all the sit-down places that we went, they offered to even bring out the chef so that we could talk directly to the chef that would be preparing the gluten-free meal, which I felt was unnecessary for myself, but was awesome for them.
Was it good food?
It was very good. Yeah.
Yeah. You had some really good stuff.
Yeah. Gluten-free churros comes to mind. It was
at Nomad Lounge.
Nomad Lounge, really good. And then what was that? The apple.
It was an apple cake.
But
it was like a bread pudding.
It was almost like a bread pudding had at one place. It was all gluten-free, and it was really good as well. And then they had
but I think the biggest testament to how well they did accommodating was that you didn't get sick.
I didn't get sick.
Which, when we eat at places at home, restaurants, even if he orders gluten-free, a good percentage of the time, maybe 40% of the time.
Not that high, but
20?
Maybe 10.
There's some type of cross-contamination and they'll get a little bit sick. Sometimes a lot of bit sick.
Yeah.
And so that you didn't get sick once the entire week.
It's a testament to how well they do.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I think they have they have a gluten-free option at every single restaurant.
Yeah.
And at every single quick service restaurant or sit down or I think it's possibly one of the better places.
I think so.
You could go on vacation if you have an allergen, because they're pretty intense about it. Because there's an option absolutely everywhere. You're not like, oh, which restaurant can I go to? You could go to any restaurant and you will find something.
Yeah.
And they will accommodate you. And so I think it's pretty good. Next question. Will we be keeping a puppy from our grand puppy litter? Scott,
Seems likely. Let me shake the ball. Seems likely.
we have told our children absolutely not. And
Absolutely
they
not.
are like, please, 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 please.
Yeah, we've
please."
actually, no, it'll be interesting to see what happens actually, because there's a few of us families that have told our children absolutely not, but are kind of
Like
looking
maybe.
at it like it might happen.
I am so in love with them. I want to keep one for sure. But I also know it's hard for me because Bo is the best dog.
Yeah.
He's the best dog. He's so chill. And so it's a little bit hard to like take the risk of messing that up,
Yeah.
you know? But I do think if there's ever a time that has the most minimal risk of messing that up, it would be this because it's his child. He's the perfect age to like help raise a puppy and keep them in line without being like old and crotchety. And he's old enough that he's not gonna like regress into puppy habits because he's like a lot past those. And then it's the most likely to have the temperament of him because it's his offspring.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to see. No, we will. I feel like a big test for me will be to see how he interacts with the puppies.
Yeah.
You think it's just happening?
I think he'll interact with a puppy no problem. Like but
What are your biggest concerns about getting a second dog?
Oh, I mean the poop, the more extra poop, double the poop is definitely a concern.
Fair.
Yard.
The girls have promised
we
me
have
that you will never pick up
big-
poop again.
Yeah, I don't. Sure. That sounds great. That sounds great.
We know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That yard is too big. I can see Gracie walking just part of the way out, picking up like two and being like, I'm tired of this.
I'm tired of this, Dad.
Yeah.
It's too dang bad.
Clean it up.
But yeah, and then I mean just the normal things of having a dog. I mean it's a lot kennels and
Puppy phase.
puppy phase and more hair, and I've mostly converted my outfits to this color actually for because that matches the
Yeah.
effectively.
No, people are like, how do you have so much like light colored furniture in your house? Like we have to.
There's no other option.
We have a white dog. Why does it look so clean? How is there no dog hair? Because I have all light things in my house
Everything is
covered.
a
You just-
percentage of the fabric is actually dog hair. it's like a 70-30 blend, cotton dog hair blend. Just kidding. All jokes.
Probably true. Okay. Oh, how do you feel about potentially taking out our vaulted ceiling?
I like it actually. I hate I shouldn't say hate. Hate is a strong word, but the vaulted ceiling where it's so far up there and the lights dealing with them and how it's at an angle and
It's not centered.
I mean if it were purely like, do you want a vaulted ceiling or a coffered flat ceiling, I would 1000% choose a flat coffered ceiling.
Okay. That was our first episode.
That was our first episode. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes,
And we're
thank you.
excited to figure these things out.
Please
And-
send us people you would like for us to interview
Yeah.
and send us questions or topics you'd like us to like discuss or
Yeah.
questions you have for us.
We'll see you next time.